Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about NPCs triggering each other. This is in reaction to, a commenter, Odessia HH2TD, saw my NPC reaction video, which I'll link below, and asked, any ideas on how to expand this to make NPCs trigger reactions between themselves and thus create emergent behavior? I left a short comment and they replied, I guess the magic in this case would be picking good triggers that facilitate the emergence of fun events and interactions. So an idea for a fun Friday, brainstorming cool triggers and interaction ideas. That's this fun Friday. So let's do it. Let's talk about how NPCs would trigger each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into talking about how what an NPC would get triggered from, what reaction they would have to that trigger, and then how that could affect other NPCs, including why you should have additional information on the NPCs so you can come up with fun and sensible other reactions. So let's get into it. So let's talk first about what events should NPCs react to so that other NPCs could then react to their reaction. So let's talk about the events that would trigger them first. Some of this is, probably not some, a lot of this is me remembering. I've done this. I did this in Fallout. I did it in Arcanum. We did it in Temple and Bloodlines and Pillars and Outer Worlds. So let's get into it. When an NPC is moving around or something moves into their point of view, so either they're walking and an object comes into their vision radius, or they're standing still and something comes into the vision radius, that's something they may want to react to. And these can be a whole bunch of different things. It might be a dead body. It might be a scenic overlook. And this is something that's marked with a helper node. And I will give lots of examples of these. But the high level of this is when your level designers are making levels, at one point they should make a pass through with helper nodes. Like if there's a really gorgeous view somewhere, they can drop a helper node there called Scenic Overlook. And what that means is NPCs know when they see that helper node that there's a pretty view at that location. And if they go over to that helper node, that's where they see it. I'll be bringing up helper nodes a lot because helper nodes really, really help NPCs react to things. Another thing an NPC might see come into their view is someone wearing a scary item. It could be an artifact. It could be poisoned blades. You could mark armor as scary. We did that in Arcanum. We had barbarian armor, and then we had this really scary looking black horned armor that we just marked as this is something an NPC would react to. Conversely, if the player or just another NPC isn't wearing anything at all, they're either naked, or if your game only supports underwear, they're in their undies, that's something they can react to. And when I get into how they react, I'll talk about how data on the NPC can help you refine that. Enemies are a good one to react to. If something enters an NPC's vision radius and it's something they would attack on sight, or they're something that would attack them on sight, they should react to that. Similarly, if they see a friend enter their visual radius and their friend is in flee mode, and I'll talk about that when I talk about reactions to triggers, that's something they may want to consider. You know, like, I see somebody running and they're terrified. I should probably do something. And then last but not least, if you see a creature enter your vision radius and they have a status effect on them. Status effects are what we just have in the game that indicates anything's running on them. It could be a spell. It could be them being invisible. It could be anything. Certain status effects should probably trigger reactions, like someone on fire, or someone diseased, or someone poisoned. This is something that if you see someone come into your view who has a visual obvious status effect like this, you may want to react to it. And let's flip that last one around. Receiving one of those status effects should also be something that an NPC reacts to. If they suddenly find themselves diseased or poisoned or on fire or various other spells that cause a reaction to them like fear, they probably want to have a reaction to that. You just don't want them to, get poisoned and just sit there and go, and, damage numbers are coming off of them. We'll talk about that when we get to reaction, though. Some other things that NPCs should react to, some events. Seeing a player or any NPC perform particular actions, and you can make a list of these actions. Drawing a weapon, probably want to react to that action. Attacking someone, almost certainly want to react somehow to that action. Killing someone, react. This isn't seeing a dead body. This is actually seeing someone create a dead body. Throwing spells, it could just be throwing a spell and you just throw out that as an event to see if anybody then cares. Usually an NPC would look and go, what kind of spell is it? Because they don't care about some and others they do. This could be anything from, summoning a monster to throwing a fireball to going invisible to just, casting some spell which heals 2 hit points. The NPC can get an event from that action and decide whether they want to react to it. Other things could be successfully using a skill. You see someone pick a lock. You see someone disarm a trap. Even better, maybe you see someone unsuccessfully use a skill. You see someone fail to pick a lock. You see someone not disarm a trap. Or just setting off a trap. Someone walking into a trap and setting it off should have reaction from nearby NPCs. Which brings me to another thing of trespassing. And trespassing is a little harder to do, and again requires helper nodes, usually with areas. But if an NPC enters a space that's restricted, either they're never allowed to be there, or it's time restricted, like they're not allowed to be there at night, or it's a shop that's only open at a certain time, so they're not allowed to be there outside that time, and the door should be locked outside that time. Arcanum had things like that. This is trespassing, and an NPC should react to it. So that should give you an idea of a whole wealth of things to react to in an RPG. So now let's talk about what an NPC may what his reaction might be to any of these events. I've got a whole list of those. One of the common things is just to make a comment. They say something. This is in various games. This subsystem to dialogue has been called lots of different things: chatter, yell, float. But basically, it means that they just say something without entering into dialogue with anybody in particular. Frequently, this is based on the NPC type. Remember, I said you're going to store a lot of data on your NPC. In Arcanum, NPCs had lots of subtypes. There were villagers and city dwellers and shopkeepers and guards and nobles. The comment they make not only depends on the event, but what type of NPC they are. Like, if you see a naked person, a shopkeeper may just go, "Please, we require pants in our store." Where a noble person might go, "Oh no, it's someone showing me their nether region. I've gotten the vapors." What's cool about that is it not only shows them reacting to what the player or maybe another NPC is doing, but it gives you a good idea what that NPC is like. So it's like reaction with game lore and fun all just built into it. A very common reaction to an event is the NPC attacking, making an attack. You see someone attacking someone, you may decide to help one of them and attack the other. Again, depends on who the NPC is. Taking cover. You see some event, you see a monster appear, you see attacks going on. You run for cover. This is again where helper nodes come in. Objects that provide cover usually put down helper nodes near them saying, if you stand here, you have cover from this direction. If you stand here, you have cover from that direction. So somebody can say, if I run there, I'll have cover from this direction. Another reaction is simply fleeing, usually away from whatever it is you just saw. And it means you usually enter a flee mode because you don't have a particular destination you're trying to get to. You're just having something you're trying to stay away from, either a location or a creature. So you just try to stay away from it. You try to go away a certain distance from it. Fleeing is great because later on we're talking about how things can react to fleeing. Another thing you can do is run home. An NPC may see something and go, "I'm out of here, I'm going home." This can be done with helper nodes, but another way to do it is when NPCs are first placed on the map, you say wherever they're placed is their home location. That is where they will go if there's ever an issue. And that way when you make a city, you put all of the people in their own homes or maybe in a shop or in their if they're a shopkeeper, or maybe in a bar. And basically, if they see certain things and they're like, I'm out of here, that's where they go. And yet, another one you can do is run to the nearest guard station. Again, those can be marked with helper notes. Or you could also just say, what's the nearest guard to me? And if it's within a certain radius, go to that guard. And this is where we get into NPCs reacting to other NPCs. Because guards probably have a whole suite of things that they will react to when they see them in other NPCs. If a guard sees someone fleeing, or someone attacking, or someone picking a lock, or somebody throwing certain spells, especially damage spells, they're probably going to do something about it. They're probably going to approach that person and warn them, maybe attack them. Guards are reacting a lot to seeing other NPCs react. So a guard may not be anywhere near, let's say the player is attacking someone, or the player is picking a lock, and an NPC sees and runs away, flees, or runs to a guard. That NPC doing that triggers a reaction in the guard to go, oh, you're fleeing? What location or person are you fleeing from? And then they go there. What did you see? You saw someone picking a lock at this location? I'm going to go there. So it's interesting because that right there tells you why you have to have NPCs of different types, because not every NPC is going to react the same to every trigger. So if a non-guards may not care about locks, or they may only care about a lock that they own. When you put a lock down, I've done this in a lot of games, you say who the owner is. So the owner can go through doors that are locked by their lock. If they see their lock being picked and it's in the lock state, they'll get upset. Maybe they'll attack you. Maybe they'll go run to a guard. But they only really care about their locks. Similarly, not every NPC is going to react the same way to every trigger. A guard, if they see the player attacking someone, they may react. They may either attack who the player's attacking, they may attack the player. Other NPCs may just yell or take cover or run home. I mean, they're not going to risk their lives. I'm sure you've all played games where you attack someone in a town and like the beggar attacks you, the old shopkeeper lady attacks you, and you're like, what's going on here? These people have no sense of self-preservation. So that's another reason why you want to keep NPCs in particular types so that you know how to react. Anyway, I think this matrix of events that NPCs react to and how they react can give you a great start for deciding how you want NPCs to react to other NPCs reacting. So I'd love to hear, if you guys want to brainstorm, leave a comment on what do you think should be additional events that should trigger NPCs, and what other responses should NPCs have to these events, and what good ideas do you have for having NPCs react to other NPCs reacting to events. Love to see your comments.